Hey, what's up, everybody? Mike Lindsley back with you. 9 minutes with Mike Lindsley here on YouTube, Facebook, and IGTV. We are brought to you by Brian Comboy of Mass Mutual New York State. Tax efficient retirement planning with Brian Comboy. Make sure you get with Brian. We did. Super excited about it, and opens your eyes to some brand new things. Um, put money away today for tomorrow. It's hugely important. Brian Comboy, Mass Mutual, New York State. We're also brought to you by Timberbanks Golf Club, Axe Exotic Pets, and of course, Bryant and Stratton College. What a great time to be a Bobcat. Still time to register for September classes. And Bryant and Stratton College has basketball upcoming with Danny Frasina this fall. And you can log on to bscbobcats.com for the athletic schedule. All right, let's get into some National Football League conversation. And I want to focus on two guys coming back to the NFL who got injured last year, who I cannot wait to see play again. Two guys who play the primo position in quarterback. One guy who's one of the great quarterbacks of all time, and one guy who last year was Rookie of the Year until he went down, and I think makes instantly a team a Super Bowl contender again. Yes, you're probably right at the point now of guessing who I was talking about. Aaron Rodgers and Deshaun Watson. When you take a look at Aaron Rodgers, what he's able to do, he makes everybody around him better. I don't think this Green Bay Packers roster has really been that great the last few years. In fact, if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I would have gone and demanded a trade unless you're going to fix some things around me. Aaron Rodgers has been more outspoken in the media. He has been more critical of the front office, but Aaron Rodgers has a right to do that. I think Aaron Rodgers is one of those quarterbacks. He's probably the best quarterback in the league. He might be the best anyway, but he's, most people would say Brady, and I'd probably give Brady the advantage too. But the one thing that Aaron Rodgers does as well as Brady, if not better than him and everybody else in the National Football League, he wins games with just not a lot of guys around him. I mean, for all the talk about Tom Brady, how he hasn't had a lot of guys, and he's made Deion Branch into Super Bowl MVP, and he's made all these other players into MVP caliber type wide receivers, etc. 1,000-yard guys, Amendola, Edelman, the system, blah blah blah. Chris Hogan. He still has had Randy Moss and Rob Gronkowski in the past, and I know that Aaron Rodgers has had some weapons to his own name, but the reality is, lately, the last 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 years, Aaron Rodgers has had some receivers who just have not gotten it done, guys who have declined in terms of their play, and the Green Bay Packers have not gone out and spent more money on playmakers. I think that's a big problem for Aaron Rodgers, and especially when you're looking at it now, this guy's only probably got a few years left here playing quarterback. He has had some significant injuries. We'll see if he can kind of try to tame getting out of the pocket a little bit. Aaron Rodgers' ability to get out of the pocket and extend plays has also hurt him also in recent years because it has led to some serious injuries. So we'll see what happens here this year with Aaron Rodgers, but instantly he makes Green Bay an NFC North divisional champion threat. I do still like Minnesota in terms of their total roster in that division. I think that the Bears will be the weak link there. The Vikings, I think, are probably the team. They're probably one of the top 2, 3, 4 sexy picks to get to the Super Bowl. And look, certainly with the Lions, Matt Stafford runs into a lot of the trouble that Aaron Rodgers runs into in terms of not having a tremendous sporting cast and a really shitty offensive line. But Aaron Rodgers back, one of the primo players in the NFL playing the primo position. Can't wait for that. The Houston Texans, I thought last year going into the postseason, they didn't have Deshaun Watson. I thought J.J. Watt got hurt again as well. I thought to myself, man, I go back to the beginning of the season, and I thought the Houston Texans were probably the biggest threat to take out the New England Patriots. It ended up being the Jacksonville Jaguars as the biggest threat, and we know that Jacksonville partially blew that game in the AFC Championship against New England and didn't win. Big part of the reason why Houston was really, really good was because of Deshaun Watson. This guy, I mean, you want to talk about someone who comes to the NFL, completely and utterly masters a playbook, makes everybody around him better. I was extremely impressed with Deshaun Watson's leadership, his uncanny ability to know when to run, when not to run. It's not college anymore. You can't just go back and lose some protection. All of a sudden, you just take off. It's not that kind of league now. You're going to get your head taken off. He found out the hard way about what scrambling and what the NFL and closing speed can do to you early in your career. But I was just super impressed with the command of the pocket, the presence, the leadership, keeping his feet moving, the footwork, keeping plays alive, the awareness, the checkdowns. sustaining long drives, his ability to throw the deep ball accurately as well. Deshaun Watson, I cannot wait until he comes back to play for the Houston Texans, and they become an automatic AFC Championship contender. When you look at the rest of that league, Pittsburgh defensively still worries me. Offensive line is meh. And how many more great years does Ben Roethlisberger really have? You've got Antonio Brown, I know. You've got Le'Veon Bell. You have big-time playmakers on offense. But Pittsburgh, there's just something missing there now. There's a cultural thing, a defensive thing, a blue-collar, hard-nosed thing missing from the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think the New England Patriots are still obviously the favorite as long as Brady and Belichick are still there. When you look at the other teams in the AFC, I think the Chargers are going to be really, really good. We'll see if Jacksonville can kind of equal what they did last year. Blake Bortles still a huge question mark to me in that division, though. I mean, if Houston, gets Watson back to 100% and they play basically how they did last year in the beginning of the year all season and stay healthy, there is no reason why Houston can't go through and try to get that home field advantage. We know that that's a key element to the postseason, especially when you have to go through the New England Patriots. Most of the time, teams have had to go to Foxborough. Very rarely do you host a game and have New England come to your place. The Colts did it for years back and ended up winning that one single time where Peyton Manning was able to outduel Tom Brady. But for the most part, Foxborough is the place that you go through, and the New England Patriots are the team that you go through. So I'm very, very intrigued by the Houston Texans and the Green Bay Packers this year because the two main guys at the primo position, at the quarterback position, Watson and Rodgers, are back. And I have to say, if football was baseball and we started to break down what the wins above replacement was for all these quarterbacks and all the rest, you wonder how many wins those guys would be worth. Deshaun Watson last year probably proved that he was worth about 4 or 5 wins. I think Aaron Rodgers is worth even more than that. I think Aaron Rodgers is probably worth 6, 7 wins per season for the Green Bay Packers. When you think about taking him out of the game and how that changes the dynamic, the accuracy, moving the chains, just the whole thing that Aaron Rodgers brings to the table. You get down to the red zone, it's little things like being able to throw that backdoor shoulder pass. Those little things that Rodgers can do that get you the touchdown as opposed to the field goal, it's a big thing. I mean, a quarterback can really, really erase a lot of your deficiencies on a football team. And you know what? When the quarterback goes down, you see a lot of deficiencies raised as well because you got to compensate and try to do things a little bit better on every other in every other facet of the game when the quarterback is not in there. Watson back, Rodgers back. Watch out for the Texans and Packers, respectively, if those two can stay healthy. Big time thanks here on IGTV, YouTube, and Facebook for watching 9 Minutes with Mike Lindsley. We are brought to you by our good friends at Wagurski Law Firm. If you're selling and buying a home, for sure lean on Wagurski Law Firm throughout New York State. For your real estate transactions, log on to WagurskiLawFirm.com. We're also brought to you by your State Farm agent, Matt Graham. Get a free rate quote today. And also, the Phoenix Sports Restaurant. Really appreciate their time. Had a great event this past weekend there. For a Yankees-Blue Jays watch party. We watched all the races from Saratoga, including the Alabama Stakes, where Eskimo Kisses won. Tremendous Philly race, probably the second best one behind the Kentucky Oaks in the United States of America. So I had a really good time with that. Really appreciate Mike Lattimore Jr. and the staff, Val and Shelley and the gang for having us out. Hit me on Twitter at Mike L. Sports. And, of course, visit pinstripepassion.com for my Yankees and baseball commentary. The ML Sports Platter podcast is available via iTunes, Spotify, and Google Play Music for download and subscription. Leave feedback and share it out there. Really appreciate the support. As I always tell you, enjoy the games.